Yeah.
Oh man, technical
This is
difficulties.
I said this is why we let Garrett handle all of it. I'm like, I'm just a talking.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from the Kingdom Cast Studios, live from the Batcave, whatever. Show tonight. We're gonna talk a little bit with my boy Arrowhead Tom from the Kingdom Says podcast. Shout out to Kyle, shout out to G, shout out to Randy, all those guys over there at the Kingdom Says podcast. I got my boy Arrowhead Tom in the house. We're gonna talk a little combine. We're gonna talk a little cheetah. We're gonna talk a little chub. Pause.
Player, right?
Talk about a couple things. You know, the combine is less than a week away.
Yeah.
It's heating up on the timeline. The timeline is heating up. Everybody's focused. So,
yeah.
How you been, Tom?
Oh, I tell you what, it's been good. The draft stuff has been a little bit I don't want to say easier, but busier. I'm almost bored with it. Like I'm kind of everybody's talking about it now a lot earlier than we're used to. So
yeah,
but yeah, I'm good. We're all staying busy over at the Kingdom Says, of course. I did chat with the boys today. We're going to be out and about on Friday, so I know if you're following because of us, we've been a little on the quiet side last couple of weeks just because we had a lot of things going on. Like I've mentioned before, all three of us moved here. So like physically moved locations. We've got a lot going on as a team, but we are man, I love talking draft stuff, so I'm excited to be here and talk about it with you. And
me too. Funniest thing about this draft is it's so we got into it so early. We've been talking about it since Christmas, like
yeah.
because we had a bad team. We're not used to having a bad team. It's been a while since like what 17. It's longer than that.
Yeah,
I mean, Alex Smith had us in the playoffs too. So, but you know, a little early. So I'm exhausted on mock drafts. I've probably done a lot of mock drafts. I know you probably have done twice as many as me, and my guys over at Tell the Truth probably has done 3 times as many as me. But
it's a problem.
We getting down to the combine. We getting down to the health. We getting down to the measurements, and most important of all, we're getting down to that free agent talk that goes on at that combine. I actually registered to go to the combine, Tom, twice, and I got denied last year. I think I got denied this year. They say I don't cover the team. Like I don't cover the team like day to day or something like. I'm not affiliated. You know what I'm saying? I'm not part of the mob.
You don't have the clearance for the. That's wild. I don't know. But you can still go as a fan. I think they started doing that a couple years ago, but it's not the same.
I'm gonna plan it out accordingly for next year, and then I'm really gonna go to Indianapolis, man. It's time. I gotta go. But anyway, so combine is what 6 days away officially.
Yeah,
in Indianapolis.
We can carpool down to the Senior Bowl next year. You let me know.
Okay.
I think
I'm down.
Over combine.
My team is down. I think CJ and I don't know DG would probably roll. Chuck will probably roll. So anyway, we'll talk about it off camera. Combine, Indy, Steakhouse, all that good stuff. Okay, let's talk about this first. What is when I say Spagnuolo threshold? What does that say to you?
This is going to be maybe an unpopular take. I understand where that idea came from.
What's up, Kyle?
We'll win a minivan. It'll be fine. I understand where the idea comes from. Looking at the defensive lineman that Spagnuolo has had over his career, but he's been in the NFL a long time, right? The average arm length and all that stuff has changed just across the league. I think that those who follow the team and even some that don't follow it as closely. I think that it's one of those like misnomer things where people really think that they're gonna pass up on a good player solely because this or that. Um,
It was
yeah,
last minute. Please believe.
yeah.
Go,
I'm a little more open, and that's with a class with some guys who have some questions about measurements. I Ashton Gelati is a great example. Last year, short arms, like top 1 percentile. Like you don't find guys with shorter arms, and they still took him early. And he got playing time.
Mhm.
I think that there's a preference. I don't think it's a hard and fast rule like some people treat it. What I think matters to Steve Spagnuolo more than the threshold is, can you play in a way that sets the edge? Can you two gap? Can you run fit well? Can you do those things that and we just saw this with Seattle, like, everybody talks about the pass rush, but they were a really good run defense when they were playing out of their big nickel, out of their with kind of their quote light boxes. They were able to play really good run defense, and that let them do some of the other stuff. Um, I think that's more important to Spags than the arm length and all that as a hard and fast rule. But that does matter. Generally speaking, longer, stronger, heavier guys a little easier to set the edge and to hold your ground than if you're shorter armed and lighter and kind of easier to move off your spot.
Okay. So because when I say David Bain or Ruben Bain, I'm sorry, David Bain. That's funny. When I say Ruben Bain, his arms are too short. Is he an inside guy? Is he an outside guy? Is he a future 3 tech or one down guy or 3 down? Is he a 3 down guy? You get all those questions. When I say David Bailey is okay, he's kind of light. Can he set the edge? He's more of a speed guy than a power guy. And he doesn't fit Spag's profile. So what is Spag's profile? Is it longer arms? So what, 34 and up arms?
Usually, yeah, looking at 33 and a half, 34-inch arms, and then usually looking at like 270 plus, right? 265, 270 in that range. My beard grow ahead. It did. Believe it or not, it's been longer before. So
yeah.
Historically, I mean, like Frank Clark is a good example of a guy who just had, I think his arms were like 35 inches, 36. Just ridiculously long arms. Steve Spagnuolo was a guy who could tie his shoes standing up, just let them hang down there. That does help in a lot of as a pass rusher too. But again, I think as the position has evolved, as the NFL has evolved, that has become less of an even the tackles on the offensive side. You have guys with shorter arms now. It's not.
Simmons has shorter arms than under the threshold, right?
I think he was like just at the threshold. I think for offensive linemen, I want to say they're at 32, and it might be 33. So, it's one of those things that one of my mottos this year, and I think it was Daniel Jeremiah who said, don't count it twice. So, like Ruben Bain is a great example. His arm length. Do we know he has short arms? Sure. Cool. You note it, you move on. Some people, and I'm guilty of this. I'm very guilty of this with the arm length thing with Ruben Bain. Is like early on in the process, I was like, "There's no way." Short arms. But that's one component of a guy's play. How does he actually, like, when you look at the tape? How did you play? You look at Ruben Bain as a player, and you go, "Yeah, he's you feel his impact on the field." We can talk about arm length. I'll point it out. And again, this is an outlier, not whatever. But Joe Thomas, the Hall of Fame left tackle from out of Cleveland, one of the best of all time, was like right at that 32-inch, maybe a little under. If we enroll, you can. So it's not. And I think it gives me hope with, like I said, the Gelati pick and some of the other things, the move for Josh Uche. just some of the other guys in and around this team over the last couple of years, where we see that. I don't think that is something that Spagnuolo is absolutely dedicated to in a way that like he's going to look at Ruben Bain and just go, no way. He might look at him for other reasons and go, no way. But I don't think that's going to be, we're not even going to look at this kid.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Ruben Bain put it all together at the perfect time during the playoffs where all the eyes were on him, all the pressure was on him. And they played good teams. Indiana was a good team. Ohio State was a good team. They played some good teams along the way. And he showed out every game. He was always around the quarterback. He was disruptive in every single game. So it got to the point where it's like short arms or not, and he can play. Look at him. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's the move. When Brett Veach shows him the tape, he's just like, there he goes. Like,
and it's so hard because, like I said, I was one of the biggest short arm. So I want to be clear, and this is a very important thing for the combine next week. Exactly where Ruben Bain falls on the quote short arm discussion. The early report was that he is sitting under 31-inch arms. So we're talking about, I think it was like 30 3/4 was I think the measurement I saw.
Wow.
I think. If he's that short, we're not talking about like that's a little bit different because there's nobody who's had arms that short, like really even play the position, really well or at all. Like that would be I'm using the mock draftable website that tracks all the like combine measurements and stuff going back decades. Ashton Gelati was at one of the shortest arm lengths recorded, and he's at like I think 32 and a third or 32 and a fourth or something. Someone's going to look this up and correct me in the comments. I know it. And then please feel free to do so. I don't have all these numbers memorized, but the other thing that I learned, and this made me go, because this is important. Do you know who the defensive line coach is at Miami?
Jason Taylor, right?
Yes. Yep, Jason Taylor, who played with 32-inch arms. So if there's a guy who's going to teach you how to get it done in the NFL, with maybe less than ideal arm length, you got it right there. So I'm like, okay, that's a feather in the cap for him. To your point of does he play inside outside? One of the other things that you might look at is the other prospect in recent memory that had really short arms was Kalijah Cansey at a Pitt. Went to the Buccaneers and has been a good player for them when he's been healthy. His issue has been staying healthy, staying on the field. But he plays inside as a 3-tech. But also with Steve Spagnuolo, like he moves guys all around. Like you're not, you're never just a 3-tech or a defensive tackle. You're inside.
They love
outside.
versatility.
Yeah, and different fronts and different sets. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe he's playing the defensive end, and you've got Leo. I guess Leo's a free agent, but you got a linebacker playing over him, or Chris Jones is on the outside playing end, and Bain is on the inside playing over the guard or between the guard and the center. And good luck figuring that out as a offensive line. Who do you go? Where do you go with that? So I think the thing that I've gone back to, and I've been watching a little bit more of Bain just because I was so hard on him early in the process. He just, like I said, you feel him on the field. He's a player that I think offenses have to account for on every play, and I think that says a lot about the quality of player that he is. So you figure out the rest of it. If you're looking at him, bringing him into the building, you've got to have a plan for him. But it's undeniable how talented he is, and that I think he's going to play in this league for a long time.
How do you feel about my guy is David Bailey? Because I think that David Bailey represents sort of a change of the norm from the norm of what we normally do. Mm-hmm. And he's like a different guy. He's more of a speed guy, and I feel like we need more of a speed disruptor type of guy. How do you feel about David Bailey?
Oh boy, David Bailey is an interesting one for me just because he's been so up and down through the process. And not his play, but just the opinions. And it's like I've seen people say he should be the number 2 overall pick, and I've seen people, having him drafted, 15, 16, 17. I think with my concern with David Bailey is if you go back to his Stanford tape, it wasn't just like, oh, he's not good against the run, like he was a liability against the run. Yes, he looked better at Texas Tech, but part of that was he was playing across from Romano Height, who is a turnstile in the run game. But I do, and I think he has the elite trait of, like you're talking about, like the change of pace. He has such a good, quick, first step. He's not Von Miller. No one's going to be Von Miller, like that level of quick step. But he's got just that ability to corner around the edge. He's got speed. I love his effort in pursuit. He uses his length really well. Like, he has those traits that you look at it and go, okay. But I think he has a little bit more boom or bust to him than maybe what some of these other guys would have. Even it's hard even with like Ruben Band and the arm length conversation. If David Bailey is a guy who was he reminds me a little bit. He's bigger, but he reminds me a little bit of Bruce Irvin, who played for the Seahawks. Who I think he'll give you enough, but when it's time to like get after the passer and you're in those situations, or if you want to move him around a little bit, I think you could do that with David Bailey. So I like him. I'm a little torn, and then like we talk about the fit for Spagnuolo, I think they're going to really, really push looking at, can he set that edge? Can he hold that edge? Can he be that guy? Talent-wise, would love him. I don't know if he fits that aspect of it, because that's an area that he's been growing in. So I have more reservations, I think, about Bailey than I do about Bain, which says a lot, because some pause with Bain.
Shout out to Pmac joining us. What's up, man?
Yo.
It's hard to get Bailey on a mock draft because Tennessee, Washington, and what's the other team that usually takes a down lineman? The Jets have been rumored to take. But they've been really rumored to take Arvell Reese. Like, that seems like a lot for real. But it's so many teams ahead of us that need. It's like 3 teams that need edge rushers in the top 10.
Yeah.
If we were to have another quarterback, I think we could get at least one of those 3. But it's kind of hard because everybody needs that. But I think they also need. I think Washington. I could see them going receiver. They need a wide receiver. Tennessee. A lot of people are mocking us, Jeremiah Love. I can see Tennessee getting Jeremiah Love and pretty much sewing up their whole offense. You know what I'm saying? Because they need a new guy. Washington also, they all can go either way. It's like they can go defense, they can go offense, and they all seem to have the same needs as the Chiefs too. So I'm not concerned about getting a great player, and I don't want to get locked in too much because, like I said, I like David Bailey. So I was kind of getting locked in, but over the couple of weeks, it's like, nah, you got to start looking at some other guys because it looks like he's not going to make it down to 9, and we don't have enough ammunition to trade up to 7 to jump the Redskins or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So who is your secondary choice? I think mine – I wouldn't be mad if we went wide receiver. Depends on how free agency goes.
Yeah.
But if we went wide receiver, I wouldn't be mad at Tyson. I'm kind of iffy on Cornell Tate. I wouldn't be mad at Caleb Downs at safety. That's kind of seems like a luxury pick. But if you don't retain Cook or you don't retain McDuffie, you're going to need somebody back there. You know what I'm saying? And Shamari Connor is not the answer. Sorry, Shamari. So Who are guys that you and Pmac look at as like secondary options outside of the David? Or I keep saying David Bain. We need a David Bain. Half Ruben Bain, half David Bailey. But outside of Ruben Bain and David Bailey, who would be your secondary choice?
Pmac, I'm gonna let you take this because I'm gonna cause problems.
It's all good, Tom, man. It's good to finally get acquainted with you, man. Finally, we've been talking all over Twitter and everything else like that on X, and finally getting to be on here tonight. So, but David Bailey, man, I would love to get my hands on David Bailey. He had 6'3", 250 pounds, exploded last season, 14 and a half sacks, about a 20% pressure rate last season, nation leading. He's got that lightning quick first step and everything else like that. But the question is, because of his 250-pound size, does he fit? But I would like to see Spags fit him in like a Swiss Army knife type of player. But if it's not him, man, or Ruben Bain Jr. from Miami, who's like the consensus edge rusher that the Chiefs need to look at. There's guys like TJ Parker from Clemson. You know what I mean? He's a balanced technician, solid run defender, got pass rushing tools you can work with. He's got the length and the motor, but his production dipped a bit, only around 3 sacks last season. But it makes Bailey's explosive output stand out more for the Chiefs needing that impact that they need. Then there's also Keldrick Falk from Auburn. 6'6", 285 pounds out. Here's the thing. He didn't have that many sacks, but same thing like TJ Parker, a guy with massive upside and the versatility on the defensive line where he can slide inside and play on the outside. Yeah, 2 sacks doesn't pop off, right? But his frame screams potential. For KC, Falk might be too raw compared to Bailey's polished, speed rushing ability. Those are my guys I would look at. There's Cassius Howell, the Kansas City, Missouri native. He's another option that people could look at. There's also Zion Young if you want to wait in the second round. And those are my guys that I like. So,
yeah, it's a deep edge class. This is unpopular with a lot of people because they associate the name Keldrick Falk with that. Oh, it's a Steve Spagnuolo guy and stiff, boring. First of all, Keldrick Falk is already an elite run defender. So you get that out of the box with him. I think, day one, he's going to come in there and he's going to be okay. He's a guy that I want to see at the combine. I think he's going to have a really good week. He was on Feldman's freak list. He squatted 700 pounds before his junior year and was bench pressing 415. So the dude's, and when you watch him, see him in an interview, the dude looks like I don't know if they make shirts in his size because it looks like he's always wearing one that's like one size too small. Like he's just bulging out of it. Auburn's a weird defense too. They move guys around. They got a lot of 2-gap responsibilities. They shade inside a lot. I think he played 4-eye, so inside the shoulder of the tackle or outside the shoulder of the guard, pretty heavily. So I don't know. I agree with you there. I think and Keldrick Falk is also one of the youngest players in this draft. I think he will be, he'll be 20 the night of the draft. He won't turn 21 until early, I think mid-September. So he's gonna be one of the younger players in this class, and he's already huge. A lot of times with younger guys, you want him to come in the league and gain a couple pounds or fill out. He's already there, and if he grows anymore, I don't know. You might have a defensive tackle, but I do like that too because you can play him inside, outside. I think he's a good pick. If we're looking at positions outside of that edge position, which again, it's a deep class for edge. I also think it's a healthy free agent class for edge players. I don't know. We'll talk about Bradley Chubb here in a minute. I'm a little bit more okay, and this is so weird. I feel like this whole draft's like a little bit bizarre land because I'm a defensive line guy. When I coached football, it was defensive line. That's what I played. That's what I love. I'm making quarterbacks miserable, messing up people's game plans. I just love to ruin someone's day with good defensive line. I'm so excited. I'm spitting about it. I'm going. Maybe we can win. Maybe we can grab some guy from. I think more bodies is better. I am scared to death of Jordan Tyson. I think he's a really talented player. I think he is going to give you the Sammy Watkins vibes. Just the injury stuff scares the crap out of me. He's had a significant injury pretty much every year he's played in college. On tape, I have no problem saying he's like when he's on the field, he's the most talented receiver in the class, most dynamic, gives you everything. Thank you for the comments on the beard, as always. But man, it's how useful is that if he's only going to be available for 6, 7, 8, 9 games? That's my biggest thing with it. Obviously, again, one of the things to find out at the combine, checking out the medicals, that's a huge one for him and for me. Love the player, terrified of the injuries. I think Carnell Tate is he's just a good double, right? I don't think he's going to be your top 5 wide receiver, but I think if we're looking back 3 years from now, if he's in the top 20, top 15, reliable guy, puts up.
Did he freeze? Tommy! Okay, there you go.
I'm back. Carnell Tate, this is my I got a wonky power supply. But between 800 and 1,100 yards a season, a couple touchdowns, I think that makes sense. I think there's some safety in that. I think there's reliability with that. How do y'all feel about Jeremiah Love? This is the conversation that's been driving me crazy. Are you going to burn the place down if they take Jeremiah Love at 9? For what if I don't think he'll be there, but how do we feel?
That signals to me that free agency didn't go the way you thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
I think all targets point to Breece Hall being the chief. The Jets are not a great organization, so hopefully they don't put the transition tag on them. Let's fingers crossed. But that I would rather get the free agent running back than draft a running back at 9. It's just something about drafting. It's just like it feels like a luxury pick to me. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that's a lot of pressure on a rookie. Some people are Jeremiah Love or bust. Seriously, and it's like
how been saying that since 2 years ago.
Yeah, he been screaming Jeremiah Love.
He's a big Notre Dame guy.
He's a Notre Dame guy. So Tim Grunhardt is a Notre Dame guy. And 2 weeks ago he was like Jeremiah Love, and then he was like, yeah, but we do need some pass rush. Jesus, like a running back. This free agent class is good enough in running back. I think you can solve those issues in free agency, and it won't cost you as much. I think you can fill out that room and really you're gonna have to draft. You need pass rush because they could not get home on 3rd down, none last year. So which brings us into Boye Mafa, I know I just butchered his name. Bradley Chubb. I'm not looking at Trey Hendrickson. I don't know why people are. Who's the other guy? O'Day. What's his name from the Chargers?
Rafael.
Yeah. That's another potential. Kitty Pay. People have been looking at from the Colts. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. I still don't know how to pronounce it. Boye Mafe. Okay, whatever. So there's I think the problem is at pass rush, you need way more bodies than you need at running back. You feel me? Like if you can get Breece Hall, bring back Damian Pierce, maybe keep Kareem Hunt in the 3rd down pass rush goal line type of guy, and then you got Brashard Smith. I'm not mad at that running back room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So, this is the thing. So when I was on Chris's show just about last Tuesday, I kind of made a case for like Jeremiah Love because he's like basically like the only running back that's basically in this draft class that's worth getting, especially in this opportunity. If he's like a B. John Robinson type, or Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker III, who just won the Super Bowl just coming off of his performance. I mean, we were just needing that one position. Like, you don't have to like have a guy that's going to like be like Jamal Charles every year, but just somebody who gives you a little bit of that explosiveness that'll take a lot of pressure away from Mahomes. Like when you were counting on Kelsey being the number one guy. And like, here's the thing, like you want a guy like a Jeremiah Love that will give you that vision. But I mean, I'm not for saying like get him number 9, but if we're gonna go with that move, I mean, just know what you're doing. Just know what you're and like what you said, Kyle, like he's a difference maker. Like that's just once in a lifetime opportunities like those guys Robinson and Walker III brought to the table. And you saw what they did. Like Robinson basically an all-pro season, Walker Super Bowl MVP, and just saying, hey, like I want a new contract. And I remember a few years ago going back to working at Arrowhead, and I saw Walker, and I'm like, that's the type of runner that I wish the Chiefs had in this scheme. Like, it's cool having Jarrett McKinnon and somebody coming out of the backfield, especially on third down, to give you those plays. But like every cowbell running back, like Kareem was our rookie year, and it'll be great, man. Like, you don't have to get like a guy like Love. Like, you can say Jardarian Price's teammate if you want to go after him, or Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. I mean, if you don't go after like a Breece Hall or Travis Etienne, there's Tyler Algier from the Falcons. That's a good option that I would like the Chiefs to take a look at. Here's a guy that show you that he was a starter potential, and then he also was a big fit coming out of college before he got drafted. So, I mean, it's those options there, but you can't deny pass rush is a big need, especially when you saw how the way the Texans and the Broncos pass rush play, even the Patriots, and that's why we had that boring Super Bowl. I mean, that's what we're looking for. So,
does the running back need to be great? Like, does the running back need to be elite or a superstar, or do we just need a running back that's damn near respected? Because they weren't even respecting Pacheco.
Yeah, there are so many layers to this, and this is again where I kind of feel like I'm going mad myself because I'm not a Notre Dame person. I don't have a college team. Like I said, I'm a D-line guy. Gosh, I mean, I grew up watching Jared Allen and Tom Bahali and Justin Houston, and like that was my favorite part of football, and it still is. When Chris Jones runs through and does his thing, like man, I'm juiced. But so I will say two things. This is kind of what I expect when we talk about free agency and what Brett Veach has done historically. He likes to fill the roster with guys that, like, we're going to raise the floor, right, at every position that we have in, right? He doesn't want to go into the draft and be handcuffed to a specific player or a specific position because that's what the team needs so badly. So, like you said, if we take Jeremiah Love, maybe that means it didn't go as planned, or maybe it did. Because what if? So I'm gonna remind you guys, we've got Ashton Gelati, who we drafted in the third round. You've got Omar Norman Locke coming back. You've got George. You've got Chris. It's like there's 4 linemen there, right? You need more than that. You need some dudes. But you've got some bodies. Let's say they go out and they sign a defensive tackle who's rotational quality, right? Tierra Tarkin, good example from the Chargers. Good, like kind of nose tackle type. Let's say they grab one of those defensive ends, whether it's Boye Mafe, Kwity Paye. I'm a big fan of Joseph Osai, who I haven't heard a lot of talk about. He's a Cincinnati Bengal guy. So let's say you do that. Let's say you even sign a running back, Tyler Argio. So you kind of have like guys who are starter level quality across the board. You get to number 9, you want to be in the position to take the best player available, right? Mm-hmm. And so me, at least just from a grading standpoint, Jeremiah Love is within that top 3. I know we talked about Caleb Downs. I have thoughts on Caleb Downs, but that's for another time and place. But I liked Caleb Downs and how he would fit, how you could justify that. And I understand because I know there's a lot of, don't do it, don't whatever. We're also not talking about a guy. So in terms of where I have like Jeremiah Love like ranked as a prospect, he would have been over Ashton Genty for me last year. He is like him and Bijan Robinson as prospects are like splitting hairs in terms of like how good I think they are. And I would give the love, or I would give the edge to Love. So my biggest case is I understand the argument of, oh, don't ever take a running back. I understand the financial implications, all of that. This is a weird draft class. It's the talent is at the non-premier positions. But there's also depth at some of those other positions. Defensive end, defense is a good defensive line class. It's a good linebacker class. It's a stupid good tight end class. So like when I look at the other running backs in this class, like it is a chasm between Jeremiah Love and everybody else. The other argument I will make is the best thing you can do for Pat as he comes back from that ACL injury is give him a run game so that he doesn't have to do it all himself. Because that's where we ended up last year was he's running around scrambling all by himself. Like there wasn't anything there. Last thing on Jeremiah Love that's important for me, this is what I'm looking for with this draft. This team needs 3-down starters. So you need guys who are not situational players, are not players who you're going to rotate, not going to sub-package. So we talk about like David Bailey, right? One of my things with him is, can I play him all 3 down? Or am I going to have to run him on and off the field, more than I typically do, or only be able to play him in a specific, sub package? Same thing with Ruben Bain. A little bit different with defensive line because you rotate a lot anyway. But if you need him on the field for all 3 downs, can you leave him there? And I think there's no question about that with Jeremiah Love for me. So. That's my rant. That's my.
I get it. I just watched this team last year, and every week, 3rd down, they just couldn't. They couldn't get off the field. 3rd down, It was just a leaky faucet every 3rd down. It was. They're not going to get any pass rush. I just feel like running back is a need, and I get it. But that pass rush was so bad last year, or they had to do an exotic blitz and send 5 or send 6. You can't keep living on the edge like that. You got to get some pressure with your front 4. You got to make some moves with that front 4, and they didn't have the guys to do it. So you just got to. I don't know.
It's a tough conversation. That's why I said I'm expecting Brett Beach to come into the draft with with guys who raise the floor of all those positions, right? That running back room was real low. Like you said, that defensive line couldn't get home with 4 if their lives depending on it. I'm trying to remember the game. I tweeted it out. It was driving me crazy. It was the Cowboys.
Probably the Cowboys game. Yeah, the Cowboys game was so. Oh my god!
As I've ever been, or as I've been in a long time, because I'm like, just stop blitzing. Like you're sitting everybody, and Dak is just tossing it right over you, and you're making it easy on them. But they didn't know how. So like, trust me, country. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not saying they should take Jeremiah Love over a defensive end if there's one that they believe in, or even a defensive tackle. We could talk about Caleb Banks, but that's going to be a hot take. He's going to have a good combine. He's going to blow it up. I think he's going to be a guy they really like. His 2024 tape was really good. Defensive tackle out of Florida, for those who aren't familiar. He's built like Chris Jones. Plays a little bit like him. It's hard. That's a big thing to say, but just pulling a China shop, athletic as hell. But he got hurt early this year. He broke a bone in his foot. What I liked about him, this is just a note, Caleb Banks, defensive tackle, got hurt and could have just sat out the rest of the season, but was finally cleared to play, had 2 games left and still came back and played. Just with, after his team was out of things and there wasn't any, postseason possible or whatever, he still came back and played. So I have some respect for that. We'll see how he does, but I expect him to be a name that we may see more to the Chiefs at 9 in the coming weeks, just to throw that out there.
Man, I'm not used to having the top 10 pick. That's cool and all well. But I am a late round gym guy. A late 5th-round Snead, a 7th-round Jalen Watson, those type of guys. Who's in your late round diamond in the rough categories?
Ooh, okay. Where do you want me to start? It's hard because I feel like it used to be there were some more like secret guys and guys like, oh, no one's really heard of this or whatever. Now with the internet and how much the draft stuff has kind of grown, it's hard to keep secrets. So
everybody got a camera, man. It's hard.
Yeah,
I mean, ring camera right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about Malachi Lawrence from UCF, a defensive end. Actually saw him on a Reddit post like 6 months ago, and then I was like, he does look, especially I was looking at guys who specifically fit, who specifically fit what Spags looks for, and he's one of those guys. And then he's gone and had a great Senior Bowl, and done a good job with the offseason process. One that I need to look more at, and I've looked a little bit. I've watched kind of his highlights, and Nadame Tucker out of Western Michigan is a fascinating day 3 defensive line. This man found Michael Jordan's magic sauce or something. We're talking like straight Looney Tunes. He was at a community college. Went to Western Michigan, didn't do anything, and then this last year just blew up. I mean, just 14. Before this year, he had less than 10 total tackles. Or he had exactly 10. This year, 1-year starter, 14.5 sacks, tied David Bailey. Now, obviously, playing Western Michigan, it's the MAC, all that stuff, but interesting player. I think he was a high recruit, but had some academic stuff. So I'm trying to think of other guys that we just people haven't talked about. Julian Neal out of Arkansas is a corner who I'm curious how he's going to run. Bigger guy, fits what Kyle said, south of Mason-Dixon line from the SEC. Same thing, big fan of Will Lee, the third out of Texas A&M. I think he just plays really competitive if we're looking at that corner position. It's also a really good safety class. I don't know if that's, like I said, it's the non-premier positions, right? Jalen Kilgore out of South Carolina. Bud Clark just had a great Senior Bowl week at TCU. He's more of that cover player. He's if you wanted to replace Shamari Connor with like kind of that flex nickel slot safety kind of guy, Bud Clark is a good name to look at. Cole Wisniewski out of Texas Tech is a bigger guy. Gosh, I'm looking at these names going.
Oh yeah,
all of it. You like? That's defense. Pmac, who you got? Who did you say?
Yo, man, I like the Cole kid from Texas Tech because I saw what he did at the Shrine Bowl. I like what he did with his size. He's about 6'4", 225 pounds. Very similar, a little bigger than Jaden Hicks, but he looked like that he did a good job with his read and react skills, especially playing the defensive back position, no matter what other versatile position. That's one guy that I like is a day 3 player. There's 2 day 3 running backs that I really like. Demon Claiborne from Wake Forest, running back, kick returner. Yes. I like his skill set. He was on the top 100 college football freak list. That's a name to keep in mind. Also, Roman Hemby from Indiana, who was part of the national championship team. He might be an undrafted guy, a guy that you could even get for a steal, who could come off, off that college priority period and be a guy that could come in and do something for you. What other day 3 guy that I like? I like Tanner Koziel from Houston. Guy's a contested catch freak among tight ends. Imagine if you get him learning from Kelsey. If Kelsey comes back for one, last dance. I mean, those are those guys I like right there. I like and one more guy, Caden Proctor.
Yes.
Another Shrine Bowl player. And one more. I gotta add one more. Landon Robinson from Navy too. Though I just like those guys. I don't give a damn about how small those guys are because I used to play defensive line, but I'm now lost 150 pounds since. But here's the thing: I love players. I did a lot of walking and working out. Going to the University of Kansas. So
I'm staying in playing shape in case Andy decides to call me up and then today we need a defensive tackle for Sunday.
Right, coach. Put me in, coach. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just like those guys who would just do their work at the line of scrimmage, and those guys showed me something in the Shrine Bowl. And you saw the Caleb Banks, you saw the Lee Hunters at the Senior Bowl afterwards. Those are guys that the Chiefs should no doubt have on their board because you need somebody that's going to help out Chris Jones and also to help out with Carl Loftus. And to piggyback on what you guys said about the Cowboys game, that moment when Andy Reid decides to put those guys, the worst unit of the two between the offense and the defense, when Mahomes had the best game of his season, you decide to put the ball in the defense hands. So if you're going to do this again, especially when your unit only had 35 sacks last season, which is 8th fewest in the NFL, and then also 14 turnovers, which is the 4th fewest in the NFL. That's why you got to have players like that who will cause moments like causing turnovers, whether it's forced by a fumble to get a sack that leads to a fumble recovery or an interception, whatever it takes, man. We just got to get back to that, especially that consistency. So, yeah, those are my guys.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned Landon. Both those guys, Landon Robinson and Caleb Proctor. We talked about, I'm trying to remember if this was on air or if this was off. Me and Randy were talking about Robinson and just like, he's short, he's stout, but dude, he is just an absolute he will bite your kneecaps off. He's the Dan Campbell. He gets in there, double teams, doesn't matter. He's gonna play the run. He brought some pass rush, but man, I love how he's the guy that you just hated lining. I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna guess he wrestled. You just knew. Whatever it is, even if he doesn't make the play on you, you just know that you're going to be in the ice bath after that game, just sitting there and man, what is the conditioning like? I'm a big fan of those guys who are a little undersized and just have that chip to them. I'm real glad that you brought those up. Running backs, you mentioned Devon Claiborne. I think he's one of the few day 3 guys that would go. I think he can probably carve out a role a little bit more. There's probably more guys. I gotta check out both Indiana backs a little bit more. Mike Washington Jr. He's not really a secret, but he could have a big combine, and his measurables are.
I like it. I like him too.
From Arkansas, right? That's the kid from Arkansas.
Yeah.
Big dude who runs like he's been he is. It's kind of a cliche vibe for guys built he's a little bit bigger, but Maurice Jones-Drew kind of like short, stout, compact build, but just will run and get him in the open field. He's got the juice to go. Man, this tight end class is, like I said, it's stupid. It's stupid good, man. We're looking at.
You like Jolly?
I do like Jolly. I think he. It's the tight end class. It's just it's about the flavor, what you want. I was actually listening to a really cool athletic football show talk about the tight end position and how guys like Travis Kelce, George Kittle, even Rob Gronkowski, they made the tight end position cool, and now everybody wants to be the tight end. When I was growing up, everybody wanted to be Randy Moss. Now everybody wants to be Travis Kelce, and we got a bunch of guys. I'm a big Max Clare guy out of Ohio State. That's probably some more projection than I just loved his tape the year before at Vanderbilt or Purdue. It was Vanderbilt. Wherever he was at, one of those two golden black teams. Eli Meriden at Notre Dame is interesting. Got some injury stuff there. Dalen Bentley out of Utah is another one who's got some athletic traits that people like. Daquan Wright, Mississippi, same thing, kind of smaller guy, but dude, if you want a guy who's going to be that third tight end who can block and catch some passes for you and just kind of do it all at a good enough level, on day 3, he's probably sitting there. We've covered a bunch of other positions. What about wide receiver? Pmac, you got anybody off the top of your head that you really like this year?
Oh man, wide receiver. I mean, I'm looking at what D-Mac always talked about, a man beater. We definitely need a true man beater that'll open up everybody around here. If you add just 2 guys, like you basically need a shifty route runner or an outside guy. Doesn't matter, as long as he can beat man coverage, that's what you need. And then you need a pure route runner, somebody that is just, I mean, well, that's just the route runner, just basically the man beater. And then a guy who is shifty out of the slot. I mean, Rasheed could do both of those roles, but depending on what's going on with Rasheed and his BS and what he's doing right now, man. I mean, I like Carnell Tate, but I mean, there's also Jordan Tyson. I mean, I like Malachi Lemon. I like who else do I like? I mean, Malachi Fields showed me something at the Senior Bowl. I mean, just that size, man. Kind of like giving me Calvin Johnson vibes. I know we don't want to go that far, but we just want a player who has that ability, who show you some things. I mean, I heard Chris Bell's another good man beater. Skylar Bell from Connecticut is another player I like. I like Zachariah Branch, Deion Burks, and also Antonio Williams from Clemson. Those are guys that I like at the receiver position for the Chiefs that could fit the scheme, especially somebody who could give another open weapon for Mahomes, somebody that, pick your poison. That's basically what's been our offense, especially when Sammy was here, especially when you had Tyreek and Travis. Like, it wasn't just that one guy. You had a bunch of guys you could count on, and we just need to bring that balance back. And with those receivers, those are a few guys that I could just name off of the top of my head. There's also Denzel Boston. He's another good man beater too, bro. Like, I would like Denzel, he is a beast, bro. I like him as well. So
yeah, he kind of gets forgotten at that top tier just because I think Washington players sometimes fly under the radar that way. But man, I love Denzel. He's one of the first receivers I watched this year, and dude, just Michael Thomas vibes on that one. It's just a big jump ball guy, but.
CJ, tight end class. That's your specialty. Who you looking at tight end, bro?
What up, y'all?
What up?
Realistic wise, probably I think before the Senior Bowl we got to it, I think Eli Stowers was probably a guy I thought I was on our board, but the more and more I do these mocks and I hear talks about it, he's moving up the boards. I don't think he's gonna be in our range unless we do like a little trade down scenarios. I guess I'll give you my list like with and without trade. Just strictly 6 picks we have, no trade back. I think I got like Michael Triggs available. I could see us taking him with maybe our 3rd or 4th pick if they really like him. Obviously we all like Stowers. The kid out of Illinois, I kind of like him as well. He's more of a blocker, but I know we need somebody like that who can also block and catch the ball. There's not really no day one guys outside of Sadiq. Really, he's really the dream scenario. I wouldn't be mad about it if they traded back and took him. I think he's that athletic. My comp for him was kind of like Vernon Davis with better hands. I think he's probably going to test something crazy. He's probably going to run like a low 4.5 or like a high 4.4. I think he's that kind of athlete. I think he's worthy of like a 20s pick or like a late teens pick. So if we moved out of 9 and moved back and got some kind of package, I wouldn't be mad about that one. I love his game. Outside of that, I don't think none of these tight ends in this class are really worth reaching for. Last year's class was better, obviously. I mean, when you got guys like Tyler Warren and Colson Loveland, it's a big drop-off coming into this year's class. So, I mean, there's guys you can get great value for, like Oscar Delp out of Georgia, Lucky, his teammate in Georgia as well. You can get either one of those guys day 2, day 3. So there's really a lot of guys you really could grab, but nobody really like stands out, surprisingly. I think the biggest project probably will be Trigg because he's like a receiver playing tight end, but he has really good hands. He can catch the ball very well. So if you really want to have a pass catcher guy, he's the guy I would look at. If you want more of a blocker, you could probably look at some other guys in the class, but nobody worth reaching for with our first 4 picks, honestly, outside of those 3 guys for me. So I think tight end, and we're all operating in the world of Travis coming back, especially with the news that Tyreek's released now. So it's kind of hard really to, in my mind, be aggressive in these mocks country about tight end because I know Travis is going to play another year. So I don't think they're going to be as hyper-focused on that position. That's like a 2027 project more so than 2026. So now if Trav came out and said he was done, then it's different, but I don't expect that to happen. So I think it's like at the bottom of my priority list as far as like position-wise. So.
Well, speaking of, go ahead.
I was just saying Sadiq's a monster. He'd be an interesting one. I'd be real hesitant at number 9 with him. Kind of the
Like
same
at
conversation.
9-9 is crazy high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, but he's good. Like I said, I don't know if I did look it up while you were chatting. It was Purdue is where Max Clare, who's the Ohio State tight end, he transferred over.
Claire, yeah.
They had him block a lot. They put on some weight, but if you go back to watch his Purdue tape, he will remind you of some people that we've seen play tight end in Kansas City.
Yeah, a little wiggle to him at Purdue. Yeah, a little wiggle.
Yeah, he's got some wiggle to him. Big guy. So again, if he's there, round 3, I wouldn't be mad at that.
For sure.
Me neither.
I think most of them guys are like round 3 or later guys. I'll say after Sadiq, it's like a drop. So like you don't really got to reach for none of them. Like Stowers, Claire, kid from Illinois, I like him a lot. I think any of those guys you could really get on day 2 or day 3. You don't really got to move a lot of rounds for. It's just kind of like this is interesting. This is the first time we would actually be aggressive because Trav's actually moving on. We've never treated that position like a priority. So it is gonna be interesting to see how they approach it going forward. Because I mean, we all want Jared Wiley to be the guy. I mean, the injury kind of sucks. Noah's kind of proven he's a tight end 2 at best. So I think we do need to get a guy going forward, but I don't know if this is going to be the year they actually want to be aggressive, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, you brought his name up twice, and the title of this episode is Combines and Cheetahs. Tyreek Hill was released today by the Miami Dolphins. He is coming off a significant injury, a very grotesque injury, to be honest with you. But if anybody is going to work to get back to where they were, I have no doubt that Tyreek is for all the things that Tyreek has done over his career. One thing we know he does is put in the work. That's one thing. So, would you discuss how would you go about a possible reunion? First of all, are you down with a reunion? And then if you are, then how would you do it?
Yeah, I mean, for the right price, of course. I mean, it's going to give you that last dance type of vibes. Like, if this is the last go-around with Reek, the enemy, and Pat and Trav, then why not go out with a bang? So, I mean, Tyreek's always talked about he wants to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Then what better way to stamp that resume to come back to the kingdom where it all started and in your career the right way? He already has the numbers to solidify the Hall of Fame resume now. He already has the rings as well. So anything like you're doing now is just putting like the kind of media kind of parts like to get their mental part. Because we've all seen a lot of great players go into the Hall of Fame status and they don't get picked because of their relationship they have with the media. So if you come back here and kind of get that bad taste out of the kingdom mouth when you left and come back and win again and get that reunion tour, I think that'll help him. But I'm definitely down for him coming back under the right pricing point. Of course, I think that's
what's the right price.
I think
what's
that's
the right price in your opinion.
We'll probably talk about this more until the truth tomorrow. I've done a couple of like free agent. I did like a little bit of like makeshift cap space. It wasn't like real. Like we don't have all the exact numbers, but obviously we all know we restructured Mahomes' contract. That freed up about 40 M's right there. I'm of the mindset that we cut Juwan Taylor. I think is everybody here in agreement with that. Okay, that freed up about 20 M's right there. I did a couple other moves. I cut Mike Dana. That saved us about almost 11 M's right there. And I also cut Drew Tranquil. That saved us 8 M's. So I did those 4 moves immediately in there. I think that got me up to like 20 M's in cap space. And then the last 2 moves I did, maybe debatable depending on who you're talking to. I extended Jalen Moore and I extended Trent McDuffie. And I think after those 2 moves, I got up to over 40 mil in cap space. So now you have a legit bucket of money to work with. I wouldn't mind paying Tyreek the money to come here like on a 2-year deal, obviously to end it on the right way. But obviously you want to make it make sense. It has to be an incentive base because obviously you want to see his knee heal up and obviously you want to see end his career the right way. But no, if Tyreek is down to come back and like on a short-term deal, heavily incentive based, as long as he's healing up correctly, I think he said he's pretty much cleared all his tests besides his LCL part of his knee. He still needs to have surgery on that part. So, as long as he's down to come back and obviously make it a team-friendly deal, I'm all for it. But I think he kind of knows at that point where his time of his career is, and I don't think he wants to play too much longer. It's been 10 years since he's been in the league, which is kind of crazy that 10 years really flew by. But no, I'm down for Tyreek to come back as long as it makes sense for the cap for sure.
Yeah. Hey man, Tyreek, he might be 32 coming this March, but coming off an injury, but the numbers don't lie, man. In his last 37 games, when he was healthy before getting hurt in week 4 last year against the Jets, he's had 221 catches, 3,000 yards receiving, 20 touchdowns, is averaged almost 81 yards per game, and that's still elite production. And now imagine if Tyreek came back at a reduced role like Hollywood did last year for us, like 500 snaps. I mean, that's about 55% of the offensive plays, and perfect for a 32-year-old speed threat like Tyreek. I mean, he wouldn't need 90% of the snaps like his Miami days. He would just be the deep threat that, stretches the defenses, opens the underneath for Rasheed, for Worthy. He gives Mahomes that one explosive option every defense fears. With Eric Bieniemy back calling the plays, the motion, the RPOs, the quick game, Tyreek's route ability, the body control, and the yard after catch ability would thrive. I mean, even at 80% of his prime self, he's still wide receiver 1 level weapon in our scheme. I mean, like you said, the money works. I mean, the fit works. The nostalgia works. Chiefs Kingdom would lose their minds if it happens. Tyreek back with Mahomes chasing rings where it started. That's the kind of move that gets you back to that Super Bowl.
He would definitely make everybody better. Trav, at his age, he would give a lot of wisdom to Rasheed and Worthy as well. So, no, I love it. And, you're not asking him to come in and play day one. He can rehab as much as he needed. Although you can take your time with him and Pat as well. So, and whenever they do get back on the field, we know what kind of magic they can create. So, no. Tyreek here would be amazing, especially for off the field and teaching those guys how to truly be a receiver. I know we all joke with Tyreek, but he's still good at his job. So, I'm down for coming back and helping the room for sure.
Yeah, I think, like you guys said, if there's a chance to kind of repair that bridge and, especially right after he left Kansas City, he was just kind of throwing all kinds of sound bites out there. And, there's a lot of stuff, that's where, man, it's hard. We only see snippets of these guys' lives, and I never try to throw judgment at anybody, but just going like, is he at that place where he's maybe has some more maturity to him and isn't going to cause some of those off the field stuff? Because I know in Miami he had a couple of those things here and there, not as bad. I know obviously early in his career there was a lot of controversy about some off the field stuff that we won't get into. But I mean, I think it makes sense. I think my biggest thing, and I tweeted this out earlier today, is just that I think that you have to be patient with it. You want to check him out physically. I think I read somewhere that he, like, just a couple of weeks ago, like, started moving around unassisted, like was able to walk without like a brace or something. So it's a big injury, and it's a lot of a lot to come back from. So you want to be able to make sure that you can check that out. And then the other part of that is there might be a team that's desperate, wants to overpay him. But I think if you can wait it out, probably post-draft, if he's still hanging around, it makes me think of Odell Beckham the year after after he played the Rams, he tore his ACL in the Super Bowl, right? Kind of took a year off, and then he signed I think it was a 1 year, $15 million to possibly $18 million deal with the Ravens. That would be a little rich for me, depending on how our cap space looks. But
it was rich for them when they did it too.
It was very rich for them. It did not pay off well.
That's why we lost D-Hop. Because he signed that big old deal. D-Hop was like, "Oh, if he getting that, I'm definitely getting 13."
Yeah, we're gonna go get some else. Yeah, so I just think a situation like that, timeline like that. If somebody wants to go throw a bunch of money on him right now that he's on the market, I could see a team like New England who would just have a ridiculous amount of money to spend right now. Maybe do that, but yeah, if he's there and we're getting closer and you can check him out and do a little more of that, once he's able to run and do all that, then yeah, I think it's a great. I think it's a nice story, a nice idea. We'll see how that works. But
you guys think this is more of a fan base thing or a front office thing?
Like him coming back?
Yeah, is it like does it only make sense because it's the fans, or does it make sense for the team?
I mean, football wise, he can help us be better. I don't think there's nobody that would say he helped your room be better immediately. He gives you that deep threat, that speed that Pmac said, and that veteran leadership off the field. He's been there. He's been in these big moments. He knows what it takes to win. He's been in big moments with Pat, so it wouldn't be a hard transition. He knows the offense like the back of his hand, like Tom said. So it wouldn't be a hard transition for him to come back. It would probably be seamless. The biggest thing is just the knee injury. I think it's probably more like fans are kind of 50-50 because there's some fans that kind of hate him for the off-the-field stuff that Tom said, and some kind of ignore it and try to focus on the football side. So I think from a front office standpoint, you're probably like somewhere in the middle. Like, obviously, you want him back and he helps you win games, but at the same time, the money has to make sense. In a perfect world, I would love to get him after the draft, Tom, but I think by that point, if he's still there, I think he probably gets signed realistically. So, because I'm sure there'll be so many other teams that are desperate for a receiver, whether it be a Washington or, like you said, New England will be a good team, Tennessee, so many other teams who have much bigger cap spaces and bags than us who are more desperate to pay a receiver than we would. And I think that'd probably be the main reason why we wouldn't get him. Somebody just willing to pay him more. And at this point, it's just what does Tyreek really want for his career? Does he want to go out the right way? And like I said, does he want to lock in that first ballot Hall of Fame career? Or does he just want to get another big payday? Because he still could, even with the knee injury at 32, like Pmac said, he could still get a big payday because he's still Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Okay, if it's legitimate interest from the Chiefs, and he end up going to Tennessee, I don't want to see no Kansas City tweets. It's over. Just let it die. Don't say, "Oh, I miss y'all," and don't do just. We don't want to go through that no more. So
he gonna do it.
If you chose to go to Tennessee, and I know you're gonna do it anyway. But anyway, all right. Before we get out of here, because this is supposed to be a quick shot. Give me one guy, no matter what round or whatever. Give me one guy you want to see on this team on Monday after the draft. Y'all know my guy, Darryl Jackson from Florida State. So just give me one guy that you would just love to see on this team at the pep rally Monday after the draft.
You're gonna make me go first? Don't make me go first on this. So there's too many.
Okay, we'll go. Pmac, you can go first, and we'll go in a circle.
Oh man! All right, you put me on the spot. All right, here we go, man.
Yeah.
All right. No matter what, you gotta have this guy. He is a ball hawk. If you're talking about getting turnovers, you gotta have Bud Clark from TCU. This is a beast of a ball player. I mean, this guy showed out at the Senior Bowl. He was also a beast coming out of TCU, being a ball hog, getting picks, rangy safety with ball skills. If Brian Cook walks, he is that day 3 starter, who fits Spags aggressive back in vision. That's what you got to land, no matter what.
I ain't mad at Bud Clark.
I like Bud.
TJ.
Mine's been my guy. They all know this time. I've been banging the table for Emmett Johnson, man, out of Nebraska, running back. I think he's explosive. He's a 3-down back. Obviously, some people question the workload. I don't know why, because I saw him carry the ball 20-plus times, I think 3+ games this year in Nebraska. Had multiple games with 20-plus yard runs. He had 45, 46 catches this year. I think that was top 3 or number 2 actually in FBS this year. So he can play in all 3 phases. I would love to pair him with a veteran, like a guy like a Kenny Gainwell, a Tyler Algier. That would be amazing value for us, because I think we're probably going to be too cheap to try to go get a guy like Breece Hall or like Kenny Walker like we all would want. So Emmett Johnson's been my guy for sure.
I don't think either of those guys hit the market for what it's worth.
I agree, bro. I agree. Even though I would love
I was when Zach Charbonnet tore whatever he did to his knee in the playoffs, I was still mad because Kenneth Walker was my guy. And then he goes, it's like, oh yeah, turns out he's a really good player.
Just ripped up all that dream. That was cool.
I was like, come on, just fumble a couple times.
I was like, come on, bro, just like pull a hamstring or something. Come on, bro, you ain't even that good. Come on.
Hey man, we don't root for injury.
Come on, bro. Come on, just tweak it.
Man, it is. I'm going to say this and trigger a bunch of people, but if we're talking about the player I'd be most excited to have on this team on a Monday morning, follow the draft, I'm sticking with Jeremiah Love. I promise. Kyle's not making me say that. I just think he's a special player, and he's probably the best player in this class. But we got to talk about Tyron Montgomery. On my list, Tyron Montgomery is a great story. If we're going to go beyond that, just to give you a not cheap answer, Chris Bell, wide receiver out of Louisville. he got hurt late, but loved his tape. I thought he was on his way to being a first rounder. I think if he's there day 2, or maybe we move down a little bit, whatever. I think there could be good value there. If it's a timeline, he can come in, heal up, and hopefully do some of the things that Rasheed does or has done for us. So, yeah.
I hate that Fady got hurt.
I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at none of those picks. Daryl Jackson, Bud Clark, Emmett Johnson, and Chris Bell. That sounds like a great draft to me. I think we'll all be happy about it. So last time we had Tom on, Tom predicted Orlando Brown trade from Cincinnati. And we have to bring Tom back immediately the next week to discuss that trade that went down after he appeared on the show. This time we're probably gonna get Tyreek Hill after this.
Possible.
Okay, Tom, who's a guy in free agency that you would run to the table for? We're assuming the money's right. They got cap space. They got all that. Who's one guy that you would run to the table for?
I need to go back and check him out just to see what he's been as a pro a little bit more. But it's a deep edge class in free agency. If he's there, I know we talked about Joseph Osai, Cincinnati guy, the other defensive end coming out of Cincinnati. I think he's got some pass rush juice. He's been a 4 or 5 sack guy. 4 sacks his rookie year, 5 sacks the last 2 years. He has had some injury stuff. Hasn't always had a chance to start. Kind of been a rotational player for them at times, but I loved him as a prospect. That's just one of those guys that sticks with you. If you I'd say very similar to maybe a deal that you would have gave Charles Omenihu when he came to Kansas City. One of those 1-year deals. Get him to, I think he could be an 8 sack, 10 sack guy if you put him in the right position. So there's a lot of defensive ends I'd be pretty pumped for.
What's that kid? John Franklin Myers or something? What is that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably out of our price range though, right?
Probably.
Absolutely.
He's a weird one. It feels like he should be, but he's he's been good for a long time. It feels like he's just not going to get in that. And if you take him from the Broncos, that's even better. Make them worse.
I mean, if there's any position that Veach usually spends free agency money on, it's usually trenches. So if you were going to bet, it would probably be an O-line or a D-lineman. And this year, given the fact our O-line's in a good place, could be figured out left tackle finally, it's probably going to be a D-lineman if they are going to spend money. As much as I would want them to run to the table and pay whatever to get Breece Hall here, because he's claiming that he wants to play in playoff football, he wants to be in big moments, it makes too much sense for him not to be here. You could literally play him every down. He could be 1,000 and 1,000 type of guy. I think they would probably pay a D-lineman. So this is probably like you said, Charles Omenihu. This is like a Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips. They tried to get him at the deadline type of deal. Now they get him on like a cheap veteran 2-year deal, heavy incentive type of situation like that. So as much as I would want them to get a running back because we need one badly, I think Veach has shown that we're going to spend money. It's probably going to be a trenches type of player. So
would you be mad about Boye? They did try to get Boye.
Yeah, Boye Mafe. I like him too, for sure.
Yeah,
Seattle got.
Pmac, you got a guy that you banging the table for in free agency.
Man, he just got released today, and it's not Tyreek. Bradley Chubb from Miami. I'm just saying, bro. I mean, just this guy right here, man, at 29 years old, coming off 8.5 sacks last season. Yes, he came in off of ACL tear from 2024. I mean, his career 48 sacks. Shows he's a proven disruptor. His power, his quickness still would thrive in Spag's scheme, especially trying to get back that NASCAR package. I mean, adding the veteran leadership of his ability without breaking the bank. I mean, maybe like a 2-year deal around 15 to 20 million total. He'd complement Chris Jones and give Carl Loftus breathing room. But if Chubb signs somewhere else, I like Mafe. I mean, there's also AJ Espinosa from the Bills. I mean, he's 27 years old. He's 6'6", over 260. He's a guy who can play inside and on the outside. He also has 6 sacks like with the Bills. He's another name because they don't even have Joey Bosa, who's a free agent. There's also DJ Wonnum, who's also another name, but just a pass rusher. We got to nail the pass rushing, especially adding a defensive tackle to complement Chris Jones and Omar Norman, who's coming off an injury. You need to add somebody to replace Derek Nottie and Pannell at nose tackle and add a 3-tech guy, somebody with the versatility to play the 3-tech and even inside in the nose. That's what you're looking for.
See, Pmac don't listen. I said one guy, and he named 9 people.
I said Bradley Chubb, bro. Bradley Chubb.
Top 15.
No, I think the most realistic way to build the roster.
No, I got you, bro. I got you.
He should, like, if Veach was like, I know he probably won't. Like, I would spend my money on like running back, get that out the way. And I know it's probably gonna break Tom hard. I love Jeremiah Love too. I'm on that. Like the hierarchy I have, Tom, is like if Bain, Bailey are gone, Downs is gone, Tate is gone. If I get the 9 and Love is still there, I'm taking them, no question. And this is if we strike out on Breece Hall in free agency. Then if all those things happen, I'm fine with them. But if we do happen to pay somebody in free agency, and then obviously you can get that running back off your board, now it's not as a high priority going to the draft. I would love our first 2 picks to be either receiver edge or edge D tackle, some type of combination of the 3. Because I think that sets up the rest of your draft. So
yeah. All right, man. We just wanted to talk about the combine. Combine's coming up in less than a week. Tell the truth, I know they got Choose Your Off season coming up. Kingdom Cast, we doing our thing. Man, we had a nice and very good interview with Sylvester Morris last week. Man, if y'all got time, please check that out. I think it was a great interview. I don't know if we're doing Red Shirt this week. I'd have to holler at Troy and them, but we got the Red Shirt podcast. We got Pmac on Fridays. So we got y'all covered all week. We're gonna be talking about this combine. We're gonna be talking about this free agent news. It's gonna be a lot of more cuts coming out because it's almost league time, and you know how that is. You know how they get. The Dolphins went ham today. I don't know what the Dolphins was on today. They was like, we need this money, and we need y'all out of the building today.
They got new ownership. They got all them Packers boys down there.
Yeah, they have a rebuild. So we'll see how it goes for the rest of the thing. Y'all stay in tune, man. Like, share, subscribe. We appreciate y'all. We need 4 subscribers. 4 subscribers. I just want to get out of the 40s. Please. I just want to get to 50. Please. Just 4 people. So, hey, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Tell the truth, man. Thank you, Tom, for coming by. Tell them where they can check you out at.
Yeah, I'm on X, Arrowhead Tom. We're over at the Kingdom Says Pod on just about every platform. YouTube, X, Instagram. I don't really use Instagram. We're on Facebook. Out here extinguishing fake news. Obviously, give a shout out to my guys, Kyle, Garrett, and Wendy. I don't have all their. I know Kyle's. These KThen16. Look them up. They're on our footer on our operating. So we have to give you all their users. They don't pay me enough for that. But yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. It's always good to talk ball. It's exciting. It's going to look very different come opening day this next year. I'm excited to see where it goes.
For sure.
Thank you, Mary Elizabeth. We definitely appreciate that.
Thanks,
like we're saying, we're gonna keep doing these little quick shots, these one-offs, and talk about the combine and free agency and salary cap. We're not used to being in the off season like this, man. It's usually coming off a Super Bowl win. I don't really care. We're gonna chill for a couple weeks. We have no time for that this year. It's a whole different mode. So I'm enjoying it though. I'm a little bored of the mock drafts, but we're gonna keep hitting y'all with info. We're gonna keep hitting y'all with shows and checking in with guys and seeing how they feel about this upcoming NFL draft. It should be a great draft. So peace till next time. We'll see y'all later. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Shout out to W Energy. Chuck do all the reads. So we'll see y'all later.
Peace, y'all.